Hi, my name is Rob. I'm from AutoCoach, and I just wanted to show you a recent test that took place with one of my students. So this is actual dash cam footage from the test, which took place at the end of May 2026, and the approximate time for this test was about 1:30 or thereabouts. So as you may know, you're going to get to follow sat nav on a driving test or traffic signs. And this particular test was following a sat nav route. So we don't know what those sat nav routes are in advance, obviously. So they're kind of randomly selected. And on this particular test, we are going to be following the road markings for the A26. So just after this traffic light, there's a road on the left. That is a bus gate, so we can't go in there. So we're going to be following the road round to the right, following the road markings for the A26, and we're just going to be staying in that lane. So just be aware, on this section of the one-way system by the test centre, the examiners will give you quite a lot of information to help you get in the correct lane, but just be aware that sometimes cars can move from the right lane into your lane, cutting in front of you. So it can be a little bit tricky. Just be cautious in this section of road in case there are cars changing lane randomly. Okay, so we are now heading up the Grosvenor Road, heading up the hill. We are in a 20-mile-an-hour zone here. It is marked. The examiners often also flag that up as well for you. So we're now in a 30-mile-an-hour zone. And just be aware, when turning left at that roundabout, it's very important that you do stay nicely in your lane on the left. Don't veer into the lane on the right, because that can get quite problematic. Okay, so we are now on the Mount Ephraim Road. Pretty straightforward section of road. This is the main road that goes through Tunbridge Wells. So historically, there's a junction coming up which was very poorly painted for many, many years, and it led to quite a lot of confusion with students. But they have managed to find a pot of paint somewhere, and fortunately, it has now been repainted, so you can clearly see the filter boxes, the keep clear box, so that makes life a lot easier for everyone. Okay, good. We are on the Mount Ephraim, the continuation of this road, and just be aware there are lots of parked cars on the left here. We just need to make sure that we have a good safety line, i.e. approximately a door width, about a metre and a half from those cars. So we need to get our right wheel close to the centre white line there, just to make sure we have a good safety margin. That is what the examiners will be looking for there. So we're just going to get past the pedestrian crossing. There's no one there, which is good. And we're going to be turning left into Castle Road. It's just a small section of road here. But importantly, there is a stop junction at the end. We're going to see that stop junction sign, and then there's that solid white line. It's just very important for candidates to get up to the white line and then do their observation. Sometimes you see people kind of stopping a bit before it, 5-10 feet before it. That's not the way to do it. You need to get to the white line, stop, and then do your observations from a position where you can have good observations. Okay, so we're now coming up to a major junction in Tunbridge Wells, traffic light here, and that's the junction of Church Road, the one we're on, and going across is the London Road. So this is a very main junction here. And it's very important for students to make sure they practice this junction coming from various different angles, because it's a slightly staggered traffic light system here, and it's very important that you do get into the correct position. Okay, so my student just needs to get to the edge of the yellow box. She's not quite there yet, a little bit more, just to improve that observational position. Then we're ready to go, and then we are heading down the London Road towards the Pantiles. So just to be aware that depending on the time of your test will kind of dictate what your route is likely to be. And the reason for that is that there is just so much congestion in Tunbridge Wells, so many traffic jams, that the examiners are always looking to try and keep things moving. So depending on the time of day, often in the morning, it tends to be the southern part of Tunbridge Wells or Langton or Rust Hall. And then in the afternoon, it can be more Pembury and the industrial estate. It really just does depend. I mean, there's so many variables, roadworks, weather, you know, we just don't really know. But often it does follow a kind of a timing kind of thing. Okay, good. So we are coming up to a junction in a moment, and you're going to see it. There's just after this section here. It's not officially a keep clear junction, but what you can tend to find is there can be static traffic just after this road on the left. And sometimes it doesn't make sense just to wait if you can't progress and let the cars kind of come across from the right. But as we are on the main road, it is our priority, and the cars were moving, we just keep on rolling. But just be cautious there, don't rush that section of the road. Okay, so we're continuing down the London Road, and we are coming up to a section where my student made a bit of a mistake. As I said previously, this is following a sat-nav route. The sat-nav said, take the second exit straight ahead at the roundabout. And you can see the arrows marked there for straight ahead. But what my student did was they actually turned left first exit. So they just misheard or ignored the sat-nav instruction. I think they may have been talking with the examiner at the time. So the examiner didn't say anything to say, oh, you made a wrong turn there. They don't say anything. What they're observing is, did you deal with that roundabout, that junction correctly, even though you took effectively a wrong turn? And that's exactly what happened. My student got into the correct lane, put the signals on, and managed it totally fine. So we're going up the Frant Road now. Again, traffic on the parked cars on the left, getting that safety line in early, which is fine. And the sat-nav is just recalculating our route, which is towards the Sainsbury's car park. So we're going up the Frant Road, and the sat-nav will be telling the candidate to turn right down Montacute Road, which is the road on the right here. Okay, so again, as with many roads in Tunbridge Wells, there are many parked cars everywhere, but this is quite a narrow road, so just make sure you moderate your speed and keep a safe line from a safe distance from those parked cars. We are moving to the right. It is okay to go down there if it's slightly tight, as long as you moderate your speed. This is the key thing. When you're getting closer to parked cars, you can get away with that if you are going slower. That's the key thing. You must slow down. You can never force your way through because you don't have priority to drive onto the other side of the road effectively. Okay, so we are continuing down the Montacute Road, and this is where my student picked up an error. And it's at the roundabout, and we'll discuss that as we approach it. So we're waiting before the lorry wisely, and we're pulling out, and we are following the sat-nav into the Sainsbury's car park. So we're going to be turning left, and it's going to be the first exit. And what you'll notice is the bus in front of us, they're going on their route to the right. A car pulls in front of us from the right, and we follow the red car. And at this point, there is a pedestrian walking onto that traffic island. They looked like they were about to go. It was technically their priority. My student was going slowly, and they should have stopped for them. Okay, so we're now into the Sainsbury's car parks. We need to really start to slow down now because there's a lot of traffic moving around coming out of these junctions, and there are lots of pedestrians. There is a small pedestrian crossing here and it's slightly closed. We've got cars, we've got trees, we've got signs. So we just need to slow right down. We're just assuming that pedestrians are going to walk straight out in front of us. Okay, good. So we will never be going in to the left car park. We'll be going into the right, the Lidl side. It's just a little bit quieter. It's where examiners do manoeuvres if you're going to be doing a car park manoeuvre and come to this particular car park. So we are going to be driving into a bay on the right. That's just how I teach it. When we're driving into a bay, we're using reference points, mirrors lining up with lines, using full lock of the vehicle. So it makes it easier in a test situation under pressure. So we're always moving from our left lane into a right lane position. But the examiner will not have said drive into a bay on the right. They would just say drive into a bay. But as I said, the way I practice it, it is on the right. So we successfully got into the bay, and now the examiner will be saying, right, I'd like to reverse out, and we're going to exit the car park the same way we came in. So my student will be doing a 6-point check at this point, moving out very, very slowly. It's all round observations, head turns, mirrors, looking for pedestrians, cars, bikes, anything on that road there effectively. Being very, very cautious. Lots of pedestrians in these supermarket situations. If you go out towards industrial estate, you might get to the Knights Park, which is completely empty, which is fantastic. But this one is very busy. So to make it safer, we just slow everything down. So we're turning back out onto this road, and then straight away, we're into a situation where there are pedestrians. If we go slower, it makes it safer, it makes it easier to deal with the various things that might get thrown at you on a driving test. Okay, good. So we are leaving the Sainsbury's car park. We're coming up to the roundabout at the end of Neville Terrace. We're turning left, first exit. And then we are coming up to the roundabout that intersects Neville Terrace with the Eridge Road. I'm going to be turning left, first exit. And that's good. See, so my student kept on moving there. As long as they've done the observations at that as they approach the roundabout, there's no reason to stop. Roundabouts were designed to keep traffic moving. As long as we've done the observations and it's safe to go, let's just keep moving. Some students I kind of bump into, they're kind of like, oh, I need to stop at every single roundabout. It doesn't really work like that. That's not how they're designed. If you can, keep rolling, keep moving. Adjust your speed, of course, do the observations, of course, but just keep moving. So on the Eridge Road, just be aware here, there's a bit of a blind corner coming around. There's a bridge. It's surprising how often you will find vehicles on the wrong side of the road over that white line into our lane. So just be cautious, moderate your speed. Once you're under the bridge, going up the Eridge Road, observations clear up, then you can start to increase your speed. Just be aware though, that on the right hand side here, there is a speed camera. And then on the right there, we have the Ramsley residential area. That's an occasional test route area. But we're not going to be going in there today. We will be turning left into Broadmead. So we are entering Broadmead. This is a very popular test route area. So you're going to be asked to pull over on your driving test 3 times. If you come this way, it's likely to happen at some point on this road. Also, you can see cars on the left here. If your manoeuvre happens to be a parallel park, this can be quite a popular place to do parallels on the left there. Big wide road, quite a quiet residential area. Similarly, you can be asked to pull over on the right. And also, I've had many students been asked to do emergency stops in this kind of area. Again, because there's quite a lot of opportunity for observations behind and forward on straight sections of the road. So it just makes it easier for the examiners to do it safely. So my student has been asked to pull over on the left. And what you'll notice there is that my student did actually block a driveway there. But on this particular instance, the examiner said it was okay to do it. And if the examiner says it's okay, then fine, do it. You will not pick up a minor fault for that. If they just say generally pull over somewhere, obviously you will not block a driveway because you will pick up a fault for that. You notice here the car was reversed back a bit. Again, the examiner asked the student to reverse back before rejoining the carriageway. They don't want you doing pulling out when you're too close to a car in front for obvious reasons. Okay, so this road, Broadmead, is a fairly quiet residential area, but there are parked cars. So just be aware that when you're moving around the parked cars, you're moving from the left to the right. We're going to be checking our mirrors, and we're moving back to the left. We're checking our mirrors all the time. Whenever you're moving position on the road, moving from the left to the right, right to the left, we are doing lots and lots of mirror checks. We want to make sure that there's no one close behind us. Obviously, if we're moving out to the right and they're going to overtake you, then obviously potentially it's quite dangerous. If we check our mirrors, then we know 100% it's safe to move our position. So we're coming to the end of Broadmead, and then we are doing our observational checks, and then we're joining Broadwater Rise. And my student's been asked to pull over on the left, and they are not blocking a driveway, which is the correct way to do it. Just keep moving until you find a position where it's safe to pull over. Don't, just because you've been told to pull over, you don't have to do it like that instant. Just find somewhere safe and appropriate to pull over. Okay, good. So we're coming to the end of Broadwater Rise, and then we are going to be joining Broadwater Down, which is a very wide, big residential road, which kind of dissects the bottom part of Tunbridge Wells. Again, it's very common to be asked to pull over here, either on the left, as we're about to see, or you can be asked to do the pull over on the right and reverse back 2 car lengths manoeuvre. Quite common to be asked to do it on this road if you come this way. So obviously there are 4 manoeuvres you might be asked to do. Drive into a bay in a car park, reverse into a bay, pull over on the right, or do a parallel park. Okay, good. So we're continuing on the Broadwater Down road. And the student is asked to pull over previously for the 3rd time. So it used to be four times, but they've changed it to try and keep the flow of the test moving. So it's been reduced to pull over 3 times. You just want to make sure you can safely do your mirror checks, use signals where appropriate, and pull over without hitting the curb. So they want to see you do that 3 times. Then obviously, once you've pulled over, they want to see if you can safely rejoin the carriageway using appropriate observations and signals if required. So we're now to the Marks Road. Just be aware of this blind corner. Really slow down for it, because sometimes you find people coming the opposite direction really cut that corner. If we've adjusted our speed, and it just makes everything a lot safer. When we're not sure on corners, when we can't see, when our observations are obscured, we just slow things down a bit. When things straighten out and we can start to see down this road, for instance, we can start to go a bit quicker. You know, the examiner's going to be looking for you when you've got a clear stretch of road to see your speed increase, getting closer to that speed limit. When we've got good observations, let's get close to the speed limit, which in this area is a 30. So we want to be looking, 27, 28 miles an hour would be ideal at this section. Okay, so we've done our pulling over manoeuvres. We've done the manoeuvre in the Sainsbury's car park. So now we're sort of on the last leg, as well, we're heading back towards the test centre, and we've come out onto the Frant Road. So we are in a 30 here. And just be aware, as we're heading back down towards the Pantiles here, your car's going to start to pick up speed. It's going down a hill. So you just need to be very cautious here, because there's also a speed camera on the left also, just there. So just be cautious of your speed. It is a big wide road, but there are obviously junctions, opportunities for cars to pull out in front of you. And as with everywhere else in Tunbridge Wells, there are going to be parked cars. So just be cautious. Okay, good. So on this particular test, my student did pass, thankfully. She got 2 faults, one for the roundabout, and then I think she did stop in front of a driveway, which was the second fault. So, but she did very well. 2 faults, very good. Okay, so we're continuing down the Frant Road, heading back towards the Pantiles, and just be aware of this particular section coming up. We've got these parked cars here. Really start to moderate your speed, making sure that safe distance from the parked cars is maintained. And when we pass those cars, we're moving back out. And then as we prepare to move to the right again, we're doing our mirrors, observations, moderating our speed, and just making sure that the oncoming vehicles are, taking up a safe position for us to continue down this road. So this is the last section of this. We just need to be aware of all these parked cars on the right, because when there are parked cars on the right, it means that the oncoming vehicles coming up are going to be moving in our direction. If we get a nice safe line closer to the curb on the left, it means we're in a good position going down that road. We don't have to do any last minute adjustments. Okay, so we're now down at the mini roundabout at the Pantiles. We are going to be turning left here. First exit onto the London Road. So there's a pedestrian crossing here. Just be cautious of that. Make sure it's safe to go. So just moderate your speed. And then we're going to be turning right at the roundabout, which is at the bottom of the Major Yorks Road. So we're going to be turning right here. Can be a very busy roundabout. And my student's seeing those blockers in front, and then she's made the decision to get going, which is the correct thing to do. So we're into the Major Yorks Road, big long straight road. Again, more parked cars on our left. So we are looking to move as early as possible to our safety line to tell the cars that are coming down what we are doing. And that will encourage them to move to their left and give us a bit more space. If we take our safety line early, It just encourages people coming the other way to do the right thing. It makes it safer for everyone involved. Okay, so nice big straight road here. So we're going to be making progress getting up to that speed limit, close to the 30 mile limit. Nothing in front of us, no parked cars, no reason to slow down. So we just try to get up to that speed limit. Show progress to the examiner. It shows confidence. We want to make progress when we can. Okay, so we're now at the roundabout at the bottom of the Bishop's Down Road, top of the Major York Road. We're turning right. Good, so my student moderated their speed when that white car kind of pulled out in front of her. That's good. So we're now on the Bishop's Down Road, heading back towards the test centre. And we just need to be aware, coming up here, there is a pedestrian crossing. And what you tend to find is people taking their dogs or running in the park on the right, and they can just kind of come out of nowhere. So just be very, very cautious at this section here. If there's no one there, then great. Just keep on going. Okay, so nice margin of safety for that cyclist on the left. Good, it's nice big wide roads. That's an ideal place really to find a cyclist. And then we're onto the Mount Ephraim. And then we are going to be turning right into Church Road. So before we came to that stop junction and turned left, this time we're turning left from the Mount Ephraim, coming the opposite direction, heading back down to that main traffic light junction at the intersection with the London Road. Okay, so as we approach the traffic light, my student has a green light, so we're in the left lane, we've got our signals on, and no need to stop. We keep on going. Okay, so this section of the London Road, depending on what time of day, can be quite congested. You can get some quite slow moving traffic. But just to say that, as I said, there is a junction further ahead that historically had very poorly painted white lines. They have redone them. It makes it a lot clearer. But just be aware as you are approaching the junctions coming up that there is a keep clear box. If your exit is blocked with static traffic, then you must not enter that keep clear box. You are on the main road, so if there's nothing stopping you from going, just keep on moving. I would strongly suggest do not rush that section of road. Moderate your speed to around about 15-20 miles an hour. Fast enough to make progress, but not slow enough to encourage people to pull out from the left or cross you from the right. Just keep on going. Nice steady pace there is ideal. Okay, so we are on the Mount Ephraim Road. We're coming up to the roundabout at the end of the St John's Road. We're going to be turning right, second exit. Nearly at the end of the test now, and we are heading back into a 20 zone. You can see the red tarmac clearly marked, and then we are heading down the Grosvenor Road to a traffic light at the bottom section of the road opposite Tesco's. So what you need to be aware of, very, very important here, is as we go round to the left, the one-way system, we are effectively entering in the left lane, but we're going to be moving to the middle lane. Whenever you do a lane change, especially in this kind of situation, you're going to do mirrors signal as you move to the right. If we'd seen cars coming directly in front of us as they were coming the other direction, you would have given way to them and then gone in behind them. Okay, so we're back at the test centre. We are indicating to go into the test centre, and then you'll be told just to drive into a bay. They're not looking if you get between the white lines, just drive into a bay.